Wow, so I have Indiana, a bit of snow. Middle of Kansas, about an inch. Overland Park, Kansas, too dry. Rock Springs, Wyoming, cold, snow off and on. I'm giving the national weather report here based on your text. Central Ohio, 30 degrees and slushy. Freeport, very cold and snowy. That's a neighbor here. California, some rain. Massachusetts, 10 inches. Southeast Michigan, 3 to 4 inches. Sparta, North Carolina had ice yesterday. Wow. So this just slammed the whole middle of the country all the way to the East Coast. Maryland, ice and snow. So how's school going? Is that good?
Happy for a break coming.
Officially on Christmas break. That's very lucky. Tomorrow. How nice. New York is squeezing every day out of us. We don't. Wednesday next week is our last day. And we didn't get a snow day today. They made us work through remotely. They are slave drivers, right, Escobar? God.
Yes, a lot of kids. It was funny too because the kids were like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Hey, you're here, come on!" And they were like, "I'm over it." They should have gave them the day to just play in the snow and like decompress.
Well, I gave my kids the day without live instruction, so they could have done whatever they wanted. I was grading all day long, but they could go have fun.
For me, I did the arts PD this week, and the presenter was awesome, and she did something called Mentimeter. And so I bit the bullet and purchased it, and it was my first lesson sucked.
What is Mentimeter?
It's because now they're putting a lot of pressure on us of active engagement, you know, now that the new remote Danielson came out. Wow. And so I like it. I haven't explored Peer Deck, but it's kind of, I watched the video comparing them, and actually the person who compared them gave Mentimeter like more props. But the basic, you can only do 2 slides. Peer Deck, you could do more slides, but the options are better in Mentimeter. Like once I got like the gist of, it's kind of like slides, but it's online. It saves your stuff and it's interactive. So there's one I think called a word bubble, where basically you give the kids, they have to go to www.menti.com, and then they have like a numerical code that they have to put in. And then you can paste it that they can go ahead, or they could paste with your presentation. So when you're on that slide, it's interactive. So let's say we were doing their culture in one of the classes. So the question is, what does culture mean to you? And I give you, maybe you could do like 6 words that you can input. So it comes out like, as the kids input the information, the words just start like, it keeps moving. So, and then you can see how many, you can't see exactly who's engaged, but if you're looking, let's say I did it on Zoom and I know that there's 20 kids on the Zoom with me, I can see that 20 kids are answering. And there's a little heart that tells you 20 people are answering right now. So it was great. Like, I had really high engagement today. So I was excited about it. I could put it in the chat.
Sure. That sounds great. Thank you. Peer Deck. All of these, you know, I'm on overload with all of this software. It's hard enough. I have to learn all these things to have my kids actually make artwork from that's free, and find new things and figure out how they work, and all these extra bells and whistles. It's just more than I can handle at the moment. Okay, we're up to about 35 people, which is pretty good. So I just want to give you guys a little background. I started this group, for those of you who are new and just showed up. I started this group over the summer because I was lonely for creative art people to make stuff of my own with and learn new and different things, because I was like itching to try new techniques and share ideas and skills and whatever. So I started this, and we had projects once a week where we had a group of ladies who would get together, and we took turns teaching each other our favorite projects to do, not necessarily school related, just things we enjoyed. And we would come together and just make. And then we took a hiatus when school started because we were kind of, I think, floundering and trying to figure things out. And then I needed help because I'm completely remote teaching from home, and I needed to figure out how to do certain things. So I was looking for help, and I'm sure since I was not the only one. And it turned out to be the case, and everybody is very generous in sharing their best practices, their successes, even their failures, because I'm sure we've all had a few from the beginning of the year. And I have been literally stalking Facebook for cool projects and people who would like to volunteer and teach us stuff. So that is how I found this woman, Tina Grimes. She had posted about these digital mosaics, and it was like the 100th thing I had seen about this, and I was really curious, and we talked, and she agreed to make a recording because she couldn't do Thursday nights, which was really nice of her. So I'm gonna play her video, and then at the end, if you like, I can go over what I'm doing with my kids at present in the classroom, because I just started this lesson with them. And if anyone else experience with this as well, feel free to share your experience after the presentation. So I'm going to share my screen. Hang on a second. I have two screens, and it's like a crazy dashboard, and I don't know where everything is. All right, so I'm just gonna hit play. It'll run for about a half an hour, after which, can you guys all see the video screen on your screens? Yes?
Yes, I can see it.
Yes.
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 Yay, thank you. I was like, oh my God, this is like school. Nobody's answering me. Okay, so I'm gonna hit play. We'll go through it, and then we'll talk at the end. And if you have any questions, just write them down. If you're like me, I forget the minute I choose to change my focus. So here we go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tina Grimes, and I teach art and technology to grades kindergarten through 6 at Oakwood Elementary in Oakwood, Ohio. It's kind of extreme Northwest Ohio. And Steph asked me if I would make a demo video of how to do digital mosaics with Google Drawing. So that's kind of what I'm going to attempt to show you today. And I can't do the live sessions because I have stuff that I have to do every Thursday night. So I'm not able to be live with you, but hopefully this will give you what you need to be able to do this on your own. Once you get the tools down, it's really not difficult at all. I'm currently doing this with 5th and 6th grade, and we just got started last week. Right before this week, we have Thanksgiving break, and we have some remote learning practice days. So we haven't gotten very far with it, but the kids were already doing well on their practice one, just to, kind of get a feel for all the tools. So I just encourage you to do this yourself first, because it's just easier, to figure out how everything works if you do it yourself first, and then you can answer any questions that the kids might have. So I'm going to kind of go over everything and just do like the start of one. I probably won't finish it because it would take too long, but I want to get a good step-by-step for you to get you started. And I'll probably be looking at my notes once in a while so I don't forget anything. And hopefully I don't say too much, because that's always the thing. I haven't done a lot of these videos. Hopefully I'm going to do okay and you'll be able to understand everything okay, but I'll try to go through all these steps and we'll see how we do. So the first thing is I opened a Google Drawing blank, template from Google Drive, and I've given it a name for now, Online Teachers Mosaics, and of course you can call it anything you want, but just to help me remember what I'm doing. And the first thing you'll notice is that you have a blank background. Most of the time you should see checkers, like a checkerboard kind of pattern, and that shows that you have a transparent background. Some of my kids see white backgrounds. I'm not sure why. It's kind of strange. We haven't figured out why that happens, but it does give you by default a transparent background. And when you do these, you can choose whatever kind of picture you want, really. I'm doing one that's just going to have kind of a single character with a solid color background, but you could do a full background picture, like you create a photograph or whatever you want to do. So I'm just going to try to keep it simple. And I think for a practice one, that's really best for the kids, just a simple character or cartoon or clip art or whatever, to make it easy for them to get the tools, mastered before they move on to something a little more complicated. I am going to start by changing the background of this drawing. And you can see that there's no tool up here, as there is in other Google apps, to change the background, but it's very easy to change the background. All you have to do is right click on the background, click on background, and then I usually start with a dark color for my background. I don't really want black, so I usually choose the one next to it. Depending on what picture you choose, you may want to change this later on. Some people like to use a gradient, and I think I can show you that. So if I went up here to gradient instead, and I could choose one of these. I don't really care for the gradients. I just kind of like a solid color, but I think it's just personal preference, so you can choose whatever you like. But I'm going to choose solid, and I already have my color, so we'll stick with that. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is insert a character using an image search with Google. So I just click on the image icon. And of course, you could go up here to the image menu too, or insert menu and click image. Either way will work. So, but I always click on this, and then I click search the web. Now you can see I've already searched for Among Us earlier, just because I know that's the big thing right now with the kids. And we could debate for a while about whether or not it's appropriate to do this in school or not. But when I'm going to do something with the kids where I give them a choice of what they can do, I do always say school appropriate. But for me, a character from this game is not inappropriate. Now, if the character had a gun in its hand or something like that, or was doing something that wouldn't be considered appropriate, then I wouldn't use it. But I know some kids are going to want to choose this, so I'm just choosing it just because. The practice one that I did myself was Baby Yoda, because I'm kind of big into Baby Yoda, the child. But I just thought I'd do this one since I know the kids, and that's all the kids are talking about right now, and I'm sure you can relate. So since I've already picked, used that as my search, oops, I didn't mean to choose memes. Let's try that again. I'm just going to pick this character right down here because I know that this one, or at least it did when I practiced it, had a transparent background. So I'm going to choose that. Now you could do anything. You don't have to pick an image with a transparent background. Like I said, you could fill up this whole thing if you want, but I'm just trying to keep it super simple for now. And then once the kids do their project one that they'll turn in for a grade, then I'll leave it up to them if they want to do something that's like the full background or just something in the center of it. Now I could also change the orientation of this if I want to, which let's just do it just so that we know how. And all I'm going to do is click on File, and if I can get to it because my page is not visible, let's move it this way for a second. With my little camera thing in there, I may not be able to do it. Well, I guess I'll just leave it there for now. But if you go to File and then Page Setup, I just can't see it behind I'm looking at myself. That's fun. You can change it from portrait to, or from landscape to portrait. So it shouldn't be a problem. But I'll just move this to the middle for now to make it easier. And like I said, I have a transparent background, so that's good. The next thing I want to talk about is the tool that we're going to use the most, which is the polyline tool. And the polyline tool is what lets us create shapes on top of the image. the image is just there kind of as our guideline, what colors we need, what shapes we need, all that kind of thing. For my practice one with the kids, I'm having everybody use a triangle as their mosaic shapes. I just think it's easier to create 3-sided shapes as a practice. But of course, you could use any shape. It doesn't have to be, you know, a triangle. But the polyline tool is found under the line tool. So you can see the line, and that little arrow next to it lets you select the line that you want. So if you click that and then you click polyline tool, it'll change your cursor to a plus, and that will let you start adding your polylines. And that's our most important tool. So I am going to just start off with a simple shape. Like, well, I think I'll just start up here on the head. And like I said, I usually use triangles just because I think they're easiest. And before I add any shapes, I'll just note that there is black outline around this. So it's really kind of up to you if you want to add that. You may have to add it a little thicker than what it is on here. And I'll talk about that more in a little bit when we talk about adding smaller shapes. But it will help obviously divide up all the main colors if you have that black outline there. It just can be tricky sometimes. But for now, we'll just start with a regular shape, and I just start at a certain point and I click one time. And once you click one time, you can see that that blue line is attached there. And it's going to follow your pointer around wherever you go. So once you've done that one time, you click somewhere else and it's stuck there. It's basically creating anchor points for your shape. And then I'll click over here. I've got another one. And then you've got to go back to the beginning to make it a solid shape. And by default, usually Google will create that. I tell the kids it's Google Blue. That's the default shape. And it will also by default have a black border on it. I don't like the border. Again, that's personal preference. So if you want to get rid of that, that's easy enough to do. I'll show you up here, the border tool. You just click on that one time and then click transparent at the top, and that will take that border away. And I'll say right off the bat before I add any more shapes that as long as you don't click off other things onto other things from your polyline tool, then usually it's going to keep creating the same colored shape that you just created right before that. So if I create another one right here, let's see how that works. I'm going to go up here, I'll go down here, I'll go back to the beginning, and it's still creating the same shape. I don't want this to be the same color, I should say. I don't want this to be Google Blue, obviously, so we have to change it. I have to click off of it. And I want it to be a red. So the easy thing to do is to click the bucket tool. I'm going to go to the pointer though. I'm going to click on the pointer, the select tool, I should say. That way it'll select that shape. And then that way I know I'm changing the right shape. Then I can click on the bucket and change it to what I want. Now, obviously there's red in there, so you can easily click on that. I'm going to click away from that, and boy, that matches almost exactly. That's pretty crazy. One thing I suggest to the kids to make this easier is to not choose the exact same color as the color that you're putting your shapes on, because then you can't see it. When you click away from it, you can't tell where that shape is anymore. And that's kind of confusing after a while. So what I usually tell them is to slightly change the color. So you can, once it's selected, just to make it a little bit different, if you click on that and then you click the plus sign, you can click custom too, it doesn't matter. But then you just drag this, to some other position. You can make it darker, you can make it go this way and make it lighter. But once you're happy with it, then click OK, and then click away from it and see it's a little bit of a better color. I mean, and you can just change it until you like it. It really doesn't matter. You could click the ones down here and see how that looks. It's really up to you, but I just suggest really that you click one that's slightly different so it will show up better. And then you can kind of go from there. I think I like that first one I did. So, all right, so I'll do that one, then I'll change this one. Now that, having shown you that, a good thing to know is that once you select a custom color, then when you go back to that bucket tool, it should be down here at the bottom now. So you should be able to get back to it anytime you need to. And somehow, okay, that was super weird. I was right in the middle of demonstrating and Google signed me out. I have no idea why, but that happens to me sometimes. That's my life. So, but getting back to that, what was I talking about? Okay, it's the same color, and they'll be down there at the bottom once you've used them one time. And hopefully Google doesn't keep doing that to me. So another thing I want to show you, even though you have this tool and you can really make use that to make any color that you want. One thing that I have added to our Google Chrome on our computers in our lab is this little tool right up here called Colorzilla. If you're really wanting to get an exact color, this is a cool tool to let you do that. And it's a free extension or add-on in the Chrome store. So if I click on that, I'm going to show it to you real quick just so you can see it. And you don't have to use this because really this is for when you want to make an exact color pretty much. But it's kind of handy if you are just trying to pick an exact color off something, not just in this project, but in any project really. So if I click on that, once I've added it, I click it one time and then I have the kids pick page color picker active, and then that'll change your cursor to a plus sign and it's looking for colors on your page. So you can see as I move around, and sometimes look, it's way off of there and it's showing me that color. Sometimes the location of the pointer, that plus sign is not exactly in the right spot. So you really just have to watch this box up here. And when it's the color that you want it to be, then you click one time. So like if I click one time now, it's going to match that red pretty much exactly, but all it's doing is choosing that color. You have to go back into your custom colors then. I'll click the plus sign and then I'll use just Control V on my keyboard and paste it in. I click OK, and you can see if I click away, it's an exact match. So that is super handy for any project where you're wanting to match color. But for this one, because it's so close and if I want to change it, then I'm just going to go back over here and move it a little bit. And then I can go back to a different color, which is still a little too close for my taste. So I'm going to choose it back to that first one. All right, so let me add a few more shapes. Now that I have clicked away from that poly tool to change the colors and stuff, I'm probably going to have to re-choose that color. But let's see, if I click on polyline, let's try to add another triangle here. And like I said, you don't have to add triangles, obviously. I think triangles are easy. Oh, good, we're sticking with that color. That's good. I just think triangles are easy. But one thing I tell the kids is for their actual project, they can do whatever shape they want. And for curves like this, a triangle is a little maybe challenging because you can make a lot more of a curved line when you make more clicks on the object. It will make a much more curved line. So it's not mine's. I'm just kind of going with what I normally do. Creature of habit. And you can see I'm just kind of filling in. I think I'll just see if I can fill in a bunch of this and just kind of following the shape. And I always tell the kids to leave a little bit of space in between each one, because once we remove the picture, that's going to be like our grout. And I also tell the kids not to worry if their shapes aren't exactly in the right spot or maybe not the right size, because there's ways to adjust that. And once I fill in this a little more, I will show you some examples of that to make it a little easier to see and understand. But I'm really just trying to fill in what's here and kind of matching the shape that I drew before it if I can. Sometimes that's easy, sometimes it's not. And like this one, I'm just kind of filling in a space. So I might go down here. And I'm just going to keep kind of filling in this one red area. Maybe I'll go up there for that one. And then trying to talk to you so that I don't have just a bunch of silent screen time while I'm doing this. But I'll see if I can do this, and then I'll show you a couple more things that I think will be handy to know and know how to use. All right, so I've got most of that red filled in. So let's look at some of the other tool things or things to keep in mind while you're working on this. I talked about removing the border, so that's easy. So how about when you want to really get into a small area, which can be really tricky? When you're looking at it just in the kind of default view, it's not super close up. So one good option is to go up here to the magnifying glass, the zoom menu, and I think it's usually 58%. It depends on the picture that you chose. But if I chose 100%, now I've got a lot closer view, and this will come in really handy when you're trying to get into small spaces. Like I can see I could add another small triangle down there if I wanted to, but this will really help you get your shapes where they need to be in the right shape that they need to be if you can see it a lot better. And you can zoom in much closer than that. Let's try 200. and whoo, there we go. So you can see that that might really be helpful when you're doing certain things. And then let's try to adjust some things while we're in this zoomed view, so you can see how to make, because once you're zoomed in, you can see, oh, look at all the space I have, or maybe that's not quite in the right space. So if I go back to my select tool, because I want to get off the polyline tool, then it will select the last shape that I did. And you can see now I've got all these things that will let me click and drag, or if I need to, I can turn it. I can do all these things to help it fit the space a little bit better. Whatever you need to do to make it fit the space, you can do. You can make it smaller so that you could add more of a shape instead of just that one. I mean, really whatever you want to do. So that can be handy too. And I can see right there that I might put another one down in there. If you think one's too small, one's too big, whatever it might be, you can just adjust until you get that exactly how you want it. And I think I'll just make this a little longer. And so that zoomed view really does help, and that will let you adjust, it'll let you resize, turn, all that stuff. That will make it look better. And of course, you know, if you print this, which my kids will print their project when they're fully finished with it, it won't be quite as big as what it looks like here right now. In fact, I'm going to make this smaller again. Let's go back to fit. So we can see that that's just the normal view. Another thing I wanted to show you is how can you kind of check how it's looking while you're in progress of doing it. The best way that I do, and you may have another way that you want to do it, but what I generally do is I just click on my photo that I inserted one time, and then I click the delete button, and then I can kind of see what's there, and then I just undo it. Now, another option is obviously to just slide the image out of the way so that you can put it right back. And I have a feeling a lot of my kids will be doing it that way. And then just click undo and it will put it back where it was. I mean, either way works, so it's really up to you, but I recommend that you check your shapes frequently to make sure that, you know, that they're where you want them to be and that everything's kind of matching and lined up how you want it to be. And I think I'll just do a little bit more of this. I don't know if I can actually finish it. It would be kind of a long video if I did that, but I'll click back on my polyline. Perhaps I should choose my color first. Well, let's just click on the polyline and see. The Google Blue might actually work out okay. I don't know, because this is all blue stuff. So let's do, well, I went off of it for some reason. All right, let's do this. I'll just do some of the blue. Click once, click again, click again. Oh, looks like I added an extra line in there by accident, but you can see that's the Google Blue. So if I can go up here and I might want to change that to a darker blue. I might want to remove the border, and then I'm going to choose the pointer and move that because I think I added an extra line. Yeah, I sure did. So I'm going to delete that, move this back, and then you can see you could just keep on adding. So I'm going to go back to that. I'll try to add at least some more blue here just so you can kind of see it in progress a little better. Triangles, I don't know. I think they work well for just beginning. Like I said, you don't have quite as many clicks that you have to make. But if I were really trying to make like this, you know, something big and round, like that has rounded edges and make it more precise, it's just, you would have to do a lot more clicks because you would have to, you know, click and click and click and click to make it follow around and around. That's really what you got to do. Oh, it's super small. I think I need to zoom in. My eyes are getting old. So I'm just going to see if I can't finish this blue part. And like I said, before I decided I would be done with any, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. With any part of this, I would kind of remove the picture and see, okay, what else do I need to add to make that complete? I might need to zoom in, I might need to zoom out, just to kind of adjust or add shapes where something might be missing. So if I go back to my pointer and I'm gonna get rid of this picture really quick and look, you can see I'm making progress there. Undo it to put it back. And then I could add white. I guess we might as well try that. We can at least have one part of this up there finished. So I'll just put this, click, 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 and I guess it's really up to you. I'm going to take that border off. It's putting that back because I keep changing. If I click away from the polyline tool, it will usually go back to the default Google Blue with the border every time. So as long as you're staying in what you're doing, it should keep the same color for you. Obviously that needs to be white. So I'm going to choose the bucket tool, choose white, and then I will add some more. And I'll see if of course, with white, it's hard to see. So I guess you could say that maybe if you use a white color to leave the border on until you're finished with that particular color, just because it will help you see it better. So if I put the border on this, I gotta remember, hopefully I'm not the only one who loses track of what they're talking about when they're trying to do something and talk at the same time. But I can see those for now. Let me put that border back on. Just kind of helps to see what I'm doing. And then I can add some more. And then go back and maybe just remove them all at the same time. Might be the easiest thing. Because otherwise, yeah, it's super hard to see something when it's the exact same color. And white, I guess, you'd have to make it a little off-white for it to work. I'm just gonna do a few more here. And then we'll just move that picture out so you can kind of see what I've done so far. And honestly, this really isn't hard at all. You just gotta get used to the tools. So let's look at this picture. I'm gonna click the select tool so I can select it. And I'll delete it for now so you can kind of see what progress I've made. You can see, whatever space I have. And I just tell the kids to leave a little bit of space between each shape so it'll look like a real mosaic. And I have seen other teachers who do this, they leave the border on every single shape that they make because they like the black outline, which obviously is just personal preference again. But I kind of don't, I just don't like it. And it's just not my favorite. So, but if I was done with all of this, I would go back in and remove all those black outlines once you could get rid of the picture first and then remove them all. That would be probably the best way to go. Well, that's too small. And one thing I wanted to show you really quick, and I should have had it open, so bear with me since I didn't. I'll just show you my finished one that I did for the kids to see if Google Drive will catch up with me. You can see other things I have in my folder, in my drive. All right, digital mosaics. And I have some other ones in here. I'll just show you ones I found online just to be able to share something with the kids since all I had was my own. Or my internet's being really slow. So these are all ones that I found just looking for examples to show the kids. This is the apple that they're doing. That's their practice one. So I have a student who's quarantined right now. So this was my example I did for her. And then this is one I was doing with one of the classes while they were working, just, to kind of show them how to follow along. So I think a good simple shape like this is a really good way to get them started. Just, have them practice all the basics. And then I did see someone shared this in one of the tech groups on Facebook, this exact picture, which is what inspired me, but she gave the steps for how to kind of create it. And then here, this baby Yoda is my finished one. So I'll show you that before I stop recording, and hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. I think I've covered all my notes. But you can see there's my original picture. And once I just left it there so the kids were able to see what the original looked like compared to my finished one. And I adjusted my background color a little bit when I was done. Obviously, you could change it at any time. You can make it a different color. I might want to choose black, which doesn't look bad actually. Or maybe you want to change it to a completely different color. What would look good with that? Red, maybe? Let's try dark red and see what it looks like. Ooh, that's kind of creepy. But whatever you want it to be, obviously you can do. So, but that's my finished one. And then back to my practice one. So you can kind of see everything in progress and see the difference. So just to recap, basic tools, your polyline tool. You just click on the down arrow next to the line tool, choose polyline. And every time you click, it makes an anchor point. And you need to get back to the original anchor point to create a closed shape. And once you have created that shape, then I would say go in and make sure you get rid of your border if you don't want it there, just using the border tool. Click transparent. If you want to change the color of the shape itself, let me zoom in a little bit just so it's a little easier to see. Then I can click on it, and that's when I choose the bucket. It will always show me what color I already have selected underneath it. So I can click that, choose anything up here. If I want to create a custom color, I can click custom or plus, choose whatever color I want, click OK, and then that will put that color in the menu. And what it should do is no matter at what point you come back to this project to work on it some more, those custom colors, any colors that you used during the project should still be there. And then the other thing was, I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. If you want to get more precise colors for this project or for any other project, then you can use this one that I use is called Colorzilla, and it's super easy to use. You just click on it and then you choose page color picker active, and then just watch that box with your plus sign as you move it around. Like I said, sometimes the plus sign isn't matching up to what's showing up here. So I always just watch the box, and when it's the color that I'm looking for, then I click, because it, you know, it's just weird how that works, but it will give you the exact color. It just may not be right in the exact spot with the plus sign when you do it. And then all you have to do is click once to find it. Let's see if I can get that darker one. So I click that, and as soon as you get a check mark, then you know it's the color that you want. And then you just have that automatically copies that color code, and then you just go back into your bucket, go to custom, and you can just Control V to paste it in there. And then I can click OK, and now I've changed it to that color. So then I'll click undo to take it away. But now that color is in my menu also. So I think those are all the main tools, and hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. And I really apologize that I can't be with you to answer questions that you might have. But I hope when I do, wow, this is almost half an hour long, so I apologize for that too, I guess. But if you do have any questions, I'll leave my email address with Steph so that you can shoot me questions if you'd like to. And hopefully this will give you the steps and tools that you need to get started on this. I think it's really fun, even just doing the practice one, and we just started it, like really in the last week or two, just started this, and the kids seem to already like it. So I think especially once they get to pick their own picture, they'll really like it. And but still, I was amazed. A couple of my classes are just zooming right through these shapes like it's nothing. So I think most kids will like it too. I hope you have fun with it, and I wish I could be there, but I hope this will at least give you some tips and steps that you need to get it done for yourself. And like I said, just let me know if you have some questions. Good luck, everybody.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for a sec and get rid of that screen. So what do you guys think? Any questions? I keep saying, oh, what grades am I doing? I'm doing it with high school. So the way that Tina actually went through it was good for me in terms of learning, but I kind of went through it a little faster and different with my own students. You were able to do it, Elizabeth, with 3rd and 4th grade. That's awesome. That's awesome. This is really super fun and super easy. And if you guys want, my biggest question when I first I first heard about Google Drawings is, where is Google Drawings and how do you access it? I'm not sure if you're all familiar with Google Drawings, but I can give you a walkthrough on where to find everything if you like. I can share my screen one more time.
I find that the biggest challenge with Google Drawing is it doesn't work on iPads.
Oh my God.
Can I chime in? I had a student give me a tutorial on how to use it on iPads.
Well, New York,
I'm sorry. Can I talk? I'm sorry, Steph, if you want to go.
I was just going to say, in New York City, we cannot download or run around any of it because the Department of Education owns the devices. So the kids cannot install, they cannot download, they cannot change settings, they cannot use extensions. Everything is forbidden by the Department of Education, which makes no sense to me, because if they're going to give these devices to the kids, why do some do this and others do not? That's not being equitable, which is what they're saying they're trying to be for everybody. So that was frustrating, but please go ahead and share with outside DOE people.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, all you have to do is you go to your search. You have to click on the Safari button. This student has a DOE iPad, by the way. You have to click on the Safari button, and you go and you type in your search engine, Google.Drive. When you go to Google.Drive, you're going to go to the menu and file open, and you're going to be able to access Google Drawings that way. She's been doing all of my projects on in Google Drawings without a problem.
Why is it allowed that way?
I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know. But she showed me today, because I've been trying to get her to show me, because I was doing it with 6th graders.
Right.
And more of my 6th graders seem to have iPads. My 8th grade class, only a few seem to have iPads. So I started teaching the kids digital art using Google Slides. The only thing about Google Slides is that it doesn't have some of the features. It have most of them, but there's a few drawbacks. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but
Can't do the polyline.
no, you can. You can. A student did it today. I don't know how she did it, but she
You
did it.
figure this stuff out and we can't.
You know what? I don't have an iPad. If I had an iPad, I can figure it out, but I don't have an iPad.
So true.
So it's like, I'm guessing just like that. So I did a whole lesson and I realized you couldn't do it on the iPad. So I had to change gears the next time I saw them. So I already started doing Google Drawing with the 6th graders on Google Slides. So I don't want to confuse them. So I'm going to stay there for a little while, but then eventually I'm going to probably go to Google Drawings the way my student taught me today. So you can do it that way.
Can I ask you again? So you said go to Safari on the iPad.
Yes. Hold on. Let me see if I have it on my computer. I had her, I kept her after class. I got to give her extra credit.
Yes, for sure.
She taught me a valuable lesson today. Hold on one second. I'm just gonna, because she even typed it up for me. That's how sweet she is.
Oh, wow. Okay. Definitely extra credit.
Yeah, definitely. Beatrice, where is she at? Okay, so Beatrice, she wrote out the steps. All right, so first go to Safari.
Right.
Type in Google.Drive.
Google.Drive, okay.
And these are all her steps I'm reading. Then once you're in Google Drive, go to New.
Go to New.
Yep.
Okay.
After that, tap New, then tap the word More, the same way you would access it on our computers. And then lastly, tap More and then tap Google Drawings. And you should go in through the iPad.
All right, I'm going to share this with my kids tomorrow, because I have a few of them that are like, Miss, I can't do this. I can't do your work. What do I do?
Yeah.
I ended up finding vector.com, I think it was, where they could do this project on if they could access any other way.
Yeah.
Tracy, is it possible that you can cut and paste that into like a Google document and share it with us?
Yes. Let me, you know what? I'm on my phone, but let me email
post that in my class, because the excuses to not do work are like far and wide.
No problem. Just give me a second and I can,
Yes, thank you so much.
all right. Let me figure this out. Like sometimes I'm not techie. I have brain freeze.
If it's easier, you can email it to me and I'll email it to everybody on the mailing
All right,
list.
that might be easier for me, Steph. I can do that, and that shouldn't be a problem. I can do that. I'll get that to you.
Awesome.
Tonight. But yeah, so it works. That's what she's in it. She's on a DOE iPad. So
Thank you so much.
you're so welcome. But
All right.
you can use Google Slides. Google Slides are pretty good so far.
Okay. So either way, the issue was I decided instead of using, well, let me get to this here. So this is how you find Google Draw under normal circumstances. You open a new tab, you go to your little waffle thingy on the right-hand side and you go to your drive. And then you click on new. So it's kind of the same as what Tracy was saying. Go to new and down to more. And then it's the first one up top as the extra. So Google Drawings, and it opens it up with a blank canvas for you. And what I did, I Googled, I like the idea of having everybody do a practice and an apple, but I didn't want to use a vector drawing of an apple. I wanted them to use a photograph of an actual apple. So that would force them to do more shading and more values. Again, I'm at the high school level, so I wanted to bring it up another notch for them. So I found an image and I made all of my kids a template and I attached it in my Google Classroom assignment and sent them this. So this is the photo. I made it so that every kid gets a copy and then they can go in and use this. And then I also made a sample for them to follow. Whoops, wrong way. Insert image from my drive. Here we go. No, that's not my drive. From my drive. Recent. Okay, now it's going to be difficult. Here it is. I actually made the 3 stages with just the apple and the shapes. The photo here. Can you guys can see my screen? I just want to make sure I'm not talking and okay.
Yep.
First one is with all of the shapes, and I didn't make them do only triangles, but I did make them have everything straight lines with angles and nothing rounded. And this is directly over the photograph. And then I took a screenshot of all this and took a picture of just the pieces that I made without the photo underneath it so that they could see what that looked like. And then I put the black background behind it so that they could see what that looked like. So this is the one with the black background is what I want from everyone. And a lot of the kids are finding it super, super easy. And this was the practice one that I had them do. And their actual project is to find a photograph online, a high-res photo of either an animal or a still life or something that's a beautiful photograph with a not plain background. That was the thing I emphasized. I don't want a plain background because they're going to basically tile the entire image. So that's where we are right now. They're doing the sample apple and emailing me for a grade and approval the photograph that they're going to do as the whole mosaic. And I gave them over Christmas break to finish it. So yeah, that's how I'm working it. And does anybody have any questions that we haven't covered or something that worked better for you guys that we didn't necessarily talk about? You want me to share the apple, the photo, or my sample?
Anyone have a good rubric for these projects that they don't mind sharing?
I've been using the national standards in media. Those are pretty good. So all I do is I take a screenshot of the essential question, the anchor, and then it has it by grade from I think kindergarten to 12. So you can find your grade, and then that's what I pop in my lesson plan.
Can I paste an image in the chat? I don't know. No, it doesn't work. I guess I could email everybody Tracy's directions.
Yeah, I'm gonna send that to
and
you.
my apple photo.
That's fine.
When I send the link out for the recording of this, if you guys want, I'll send my apple and Tracy's directions.
Thank you.
Welcome. So,
Steph, can you white out her name or block out her name for me?
whose name?
The student's name.
Oh,
Okay.
sure, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'll just send it to you and you can
I'll take care of it before I send it out. No problem. So that was pretty quick and easy.
Yeah.
Anybody have any other ideas that you might want to share, or somebody who might want to volunteer a session to do in the next few months, maybe. I want to keep things going. I'd like to keep the momentum so that we're all kind of helping each other out. Or not. I'm gonna put my my email in the chat. If you guys are here through Facebook, please email me so I can add you to my mailing list.
Are you looking for something specific, or just like, you know?
High school level. I mean, you could always tone things down.
Okay.
Preferably digital, although only because I'm completely remote. So
Okay. No, that's fine. Like for me, I can do something with student engagement, and I can also do something like with the Jamboard that my kids have really been, like I studied it a little bit and I'm like, oh, I think I got it. And so the activities we've done have been really fun. My students did Eastern Hemisphere cultures. We only got to Asia and 4 countries. And then they were like, can we do our own country? So we're doing research into our own country and culture, and then creating a Jamboard based on that. But we started studying like other cultures first.
okay.
Everyone's like interested in that, and just kind of a couple of Jamboard hacks. Because I was using Jamboard because, like I said, the problem with the iPads.
Right. And that's really frustrating because you're going along and then all of a sudden you like hit a wall and you have to scramble to fix it for that one student.
Yes.
Okay, so then you and I can discuss a date, a potential date to do your session on engagement and Jamboards.
Yeah.
Can I ask? I assume you're arts related.
Oh, I'm in middle school.
Art teacher, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so how this would work with arts classes? That would be great.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
Can I just interject something real quick?
Yeah.
I did, you know how she was talking about, yeah, like if you put the black outline on or not, and she preferred to not.
Yes.
And I did the whole thing with the black outlines.
Me too.
I kind of liked it, but then another thing I just wanted to say is I changed, since this particular image doesn't have any black in it, I changed the background to black, and when I did that, all the outlines disappeared.
Yeah.
So then it just looked like, yeah, it kind of looked like what she was saying, but I didn't do it that way. But anyway, that's cool. This is awesome.
I left my kids to decide, but I did tell them if you want the outline, it has to be on every single one. It can't be on some and not on others. So if you do the outline, do it all or do it nothing at all, so that it's consistent throughout. So I give them choice, and high schoolers love it when you give them choice because it gives them complete ownership over their project, and they feel more in control of it. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm hearing things about Jamboard like crazy, and again, when I hear a new name of a new app or a new thing, I kind of freak out and I'm like, I can't take on another.
Oh no.
Can't. But you know what? If it helps us all, that's fine. Absolutely great. And we did have Matt from 2 weeks ago when he did our Photoshop typography lesson. He volunteered to show us how to paint on Adobe Draw, which I think is also supposed to be free. So I have to investigate that also and try to get him in as well for that. So keep your ideas coming. Feel free to